So, what a story. I always tell my guests at the beginning of the conversation that don't worry, we are going to be all over, but towards the end, we are going to be so much talking to the specifics, and most of which will be your passion. And I'm glad we arrived at that point. But what a beautiful journey, Roelien. And it's like it was unplanned.
Yeah, I really believe that you're born with a purpose. And I was actually fortunate to find my purpose in life quite early in my life. So, I really feel I'm very passionate, Sam, for the youth and the unemployment. I'm actually very concerned about the unemployment and the rate of unemployment in South Africa. And I think it's about, we are in the fourth industrial revolution era. And students need to start thinking out of the box. Because I always tell my students that you must remember, don't think that you're going to work for a boss.
Yeah.
You need to get that out of your mind, totally. Specifically because my students is IT. Yes. I always tell the IT students, you IT students, you're supposed to have your own job. You have to determine your destiny.
Yes.
And you only determine your destiny if you think out of the box. So, and specifically with the systems that they are doing with community. My students are doing wonderful community projects this year. I've identified 12 projects within the agriculture space this year. And they are developing systems for different community projects in the field of agriculture. I even have a project. One of my student groups are working for a company in New York. Wow. And you can't believe how impressed those people are with our students. So I always tell my students, why do you need to stand back? You need to be proud of who you are and where you come from.
Yes, absolutely.
Because if you are not proud who you are and where you come from, then you will remain where you are.
Something that I always feel that is necessary is, I don't know whether it comes out of the field of coaching or it's career guidance or mentoring, but I feel very strongly that all of us, at a certain point in time, we need to be assisted to be able to pick up our calling so early. But sometimes God has got a way of delaying it because He wants you to try everything and then ultimately then show you what His plans for you is. Because you said it very well at the beginning that you were born into an environment where you're dealing with people, in the church, growing, your father being a pastor, you always knew that you want to work with people. But you still tried something different. Well, I guess secretary is working with people, but it's not in the form that you ultimately ended up being. Or perhaps these are the rules that you had to take. So I'm sitting and say, even myself, if I was told early in my career that I will become a coach, will I have abandoned this route that I followed and went straight to type of things that lead me towards becoming a coach? Will I be wiser enough to apply that coaching, or it will have been a useless coach? I will have been a useless coach. So I think that's where the story we are telling our stories reveals something to us. That you go through so many zigzags. But when you land at your journey, at your purpose, all those things add to the richness of your experience. Will you agree with that?
Yeah. I agree 100% with you. I think that every journey, your whole journey where you start is everything that happened in lives is something that prepare you for something better. And I think that's a mind shift that students also and the youth in South Africa needs to make. They all think that they must go to higher education after matric to be successful. That's not true. Because sometimes that's not the plan.
Yeah.
That's not God's plan.
And if you try to push it, you just keep on hitting the blockages.
Yes, because if I think now, if let's say I start immediately after matric and went to tertiary institution and studied, I will never end up where I am today. Never.
That's very
I will
interesting.
end up in a different field.
I look at myself as well, if I agree with you, that I was very much interested in becoming an economist. And I knew that I had to go to the university to study to become economist. But funny enough, I didn't choose a course that leads to economics. I wanted, my uncle encouraged me to take B pharmacy, and then I found out that no, I wasn't going to crack it after I had already wasted a year. And then I moved to commerce, which was a little bit much closer to economics, but then I moved my studies from West to UNISA and then went to the German college. And that's when the whole diversion of my direction happened. I call it diversion because I found myself now following the German education stream and went to Germany and work and study and come back. And then only then I completed my degree. But that was the last time I looked at what I studied, because I went into HR.
Yeah.
And HR delivered me into coaching.
Into coaching.
And look at your journey as well. I mean, you went to diploma in personnel management.
Yes.
Because you love people.
Yes, but that also, you know what? I always tell my daughters that any qualification is not a waste. So it doesn't matter what you study. It prepares you. It just makes you more rich in your area. And I think it was good for me to study personnel management and human resource management, because that gives me the background of people management, how to manage people in the right way. And that is helping me in my academic stream, because now I know all the ins and outs and how to work with the people. Because it's building yourself as to become the person that you are today.
Yeah, these stories are rich. Let's unpack now this unique combination that you put together. You are in the Applied Information Systems unit. And you are using that as an enabler of a work integrated learning. So is it a faculty or is it, what is it? Is it a department?
It's a department. We're the College of Business and Economics.
Yes.
And then under the College of Business and Economics, we have different schools.
Yes.
And we fall under the School of Consumer and Intelligence.
I see.
And then we have three departments, and the department I'm falling under is Department of Applied Information Systems.
And your work integrated learning activities are for the students in that area?
In that area, but now I'm not only just involved in my students. I'm also appointed as the champion for the College of Business and Economics. So basically, I'm overseeing, and I always need to report back of what type of work-integrated learning activities is taking place within accounting, for example, within the Department of Marketing. So, and the university also asked me now to become involved in the entire University of Johannesburg.
Wow.
Because remember Suzanne Taylor was the
Yes.
Work Integrated Learning Manager for University of Johannesburg. But since he passed away, there is not a centralized person looking after work integrated learning. So a week or two ago, I actually have a conversation with my dean and vice dean and senior members of the university, and I said to them, work integrated learning is very important for all the students.
Yes.
We don't do the students justice if we send them out with any links or integration of the theoretical work with the world of work. And so I've triggered that light bulb, and we're going to have a workshop on this in the end of September to say this is the way that the University of Johannesburg wants to take this forward.
Beautiful. And you guys...
I'm fighting for it, Sam.
Beautiful. And the University of Johannesburg, even from the times of Suzanne Taylor, has always been one of the comprehensive universities that was very much in favor of this work. I mean, even the closeness with Saski, I mean, that demonstrates that.
Yes.
And then I sometimes I do wish that this actually become a topic of discussion at all comprehensive universities, because that's the way, that's the future. If we are going to stop producing unemployed graduates, the work integrated learning is the way. Will you agree with that?
Yeah, it is. I totally agree with that. But you know what? I also think that work integrated learning, and that's my other argument, is that work integrated learning in all the tertiary institutions are only implemented in the third year.
Only in the third year?
Only the third year. If you look at all the UOTs, most of them is in the third year.
And that's too late, isn't it?
Because they must be placed in industry for 6 months.
I see.
So they do the first 2 years. With engineering, they're doing 2 years, and then the last year they're doing P1 and P2, remember?
Yes.
Right. So in hospitality management, for example, they will do the first 2.5 years, and then in the last 6 months they will be placed in industry. Now, my argument is, Sam, that we need to change that.
Yes.
Because it is very important that we introduce the student to the industry in their first year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Why do I say that? Is that you will see that a lot of students start with studies, and then they drop out in their second year or maybe in their third year. Or they will carry on with their studies, and in their third year, when they are placed for work integrated learning, they realize that's not my field. That's not what I want to study. And then it's too late, because how much money is wasted there?
So they need to be exposed to the real work life early, so that they can make the right decisions as to whether they're continuing or they stop it before it's too late.
Yes. I believe that we need to have sort of a work integrated learning on a grade 10, 11 platform as well, to introduce the school level kids on the different qualifications.
Wow.
So if you think that you want to become a doctor, expose those students send them for shadowing at least for a holiday.
Yeah.
So if we expose the students or the learners on school level, then they will have a more clearer understanding of really what they want to become. And if they are on university level, in their first year, they need to work in the community.
Yes. Yes.
And then in second year, they need to do what we call service learning.
Yeah.
Also in the community, but it counts a certain percentage to the qualification of a subject. And then in the third year, you can introduce.
So you're basically suggesting that work integrated learning can be used for choices, for choosing careers, for choosing qualifications that students want to study towards.
Yes.
So. And could it also happen that if you expose the grade 12, grade 11 and grade 12 students to a world of work, could it happen that they decide also to go the alternative route after that, to say, I'm not going to go to the academic route, I'm going to go the corporate academy route, if there's something like that?
Yeah, to the TVET side.
Yes.
Because people think if they're only in the real academic stream of universities and universities of technologies, that they will find a job.
Yes.
That's not true. I mean, if you are in the TVET college, you can also be very successful.
Yes. Yes. Especially if you come into contact with something that is passionately you.
Yeah.
And this could become a steps that you're going to follow. You could have, in your case, you could also have gone to TVET if there was something like that, and do your secretarial course there, and from there do your personnel management, and then go to university to do BTech, something like that. If the articulation could be very well done, you could take that route.
So I really think that we need to shift our minds and think a little bit different.
Something I'm picking up, and you tell me if that's the case. In almost every cooperative education head I've spoken to, it's almost like they define their departments, they themselves, their character, their passion, their self-drive, their enthusiasm, who they are. They almost like define the culture of the cooperative in that department. And what fascinates me is that now, when I think of DUT, from a cooperative point of view, I think of Shakil. When I think VUT, I think of Eni. When I think of MUT, I think of Fundiswa. When I think of TUT, I think of Tatemutau. And the question is, are we emerging drivers of this new phenomena, perhaps, and we are underestimating the fact that if the will is going to happen in South Africa, it is going to happen because of you guys who are leading it. Because here you are at UJ, you have started a conversation. Because you believe in it, you are passionate about it, you are part of the community of the cooperative education professionals, and you understand it, and you're taking a lead.
Yeah, because we understand the modality of work. We know the success stories of work integrated learning for students. I think that top management don't have that insight of really what happened with work integrated learning. And some people see it as a burden.
Because it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I've done a complexity study as part of my PhD in how complex it is to place one student.
Yeah.
And you know that people think that if you place one student, the interaction is between the lecturer, the student, and the industry. So it's only a three-way communication. It's not true. It's actually a 15-way conversation between the stakeholders.
Yes,
because you must
it's a multiple stakeholder type of arrangement. And by the way, don't rule out the government at a distance, because that is very much driving when they talk about the universities producing quality labor force.
Yes.
this is one of the areas that we could be delivering, and the government could come, and we need to convince the government by its practicality. And here's the reason why I raised the point I raised, and I'm glad you are starting this conversation at UJ, because I know people do look at UJ. Other universities do look at the work that the UJ does. You are not just a small university, so there must be a desire also to use it as a multiplier of this. Why is it that we tend to think that the government needs to take the lead, or somebody else must take the lead? I raised this point from the beginning to say, you guys you have done so much for yourselves, and you have continued studying, and you are at the level where actually you are writing research papers. And I feel that maybe this conversation that I've held with a number of you has actually ignited the energy in you, because I believe that you are on top of it, and let's just do something that will make everybody not to ignore us.
Yeah. You know what? I think, and I think we're almost there, Sam, with SASCI. Because remember, if I can go back now to SASCI, is I'm on the board since last year as treasurer, and I'm involved with the research for SASCI and so forth. And I have a conversation with, Chris Mootley from DUT.
Yes, I know Chris very well, yes.
Yes, he developed that OLIM system.
Yes.
And I said to him, it's time that we connect with the Department of Higher Education.
Yes.
And have a discussion with them and show them the powerful work that can be done. But it is important that it must become a SASCI product.
Yes.
Because I feel very strong that SASCI must take the lead, but SASCI must get the buy-in from the Department of Higher Education.
Yes.
We need to get the Department of Higher Education on board to say that, yes, he did endorse SASCI as a non-profit organization, but that's not enough. It is time that you need to stand your ground as minister and say that work integrated learning must be enforced. Doesn't matter what type of modality. It must be enforced in all qualifications within traditional universities, comprehensive universities, universities of technologies, and TVET colleges. All different tertiary institutions must endorse work integrated learning. Yes. Otherwise, we're not going to address the unemployment in South Africa.
Absolutely. And who's supposed to initiate that conversation? The SASCI, you mean? That should be SASCI.
We already started with that. SASCI already started with that. We have a conversation this week. It was last week.
Yes.
With the Minister's Office.
Yes.
On what SASCI can do for Department of Higher Education. And I think that we trigger the right people at the Department of Higher Education. And SASCI is busy working on that. But I really think that SASCI needs to take the lead on work integrated learning. But we need to get the buy-in from the department.
And unfortunately, the minister is aware of SASCI's work.
The minister's office is now aware of SASCI and what we can do. And I already, on that specific meeting, I advocate the system that SASCI is using for the TLIU project. And because through the SASCI, I realized that that system is actually excellent in reporting on the placements of students.
Yes.
Because from a SASCI point of view, I can click a button, and with that clicking of the button, I know exactly on that project that SASCI is doing, where are the students' place of Vaal University of Technology for that project, where are the students from UJ for that project is is placed. So Saskia knows exactly where everyone is placed. And I think it's very important that Saskia needs to work more closer
Yes.
to the Department of Higher Education.
Very important. Very, very important.
It's very important.
Sure. Yeah. Your journey is incredible, and I what I like is that it's almost like you're vibrating at the very highest level. Your energy vibration is at the very highest level, and it needs to be sustained at that level because, as we have said earlier on, it's a very involved work to drive work integrated learning, and I think we need to bring the message across to the universities that and then colleges alike. It is not enough just to have one soul that is so passionate, but it does not have infrastructure and resources to make it happen. And actually, with will, the return on investment is evident immediately.
It is.
It's not something you battle to debate because you could almost, if the company like what you have given them, within 1 year, that person is employable.
Yes. And currently, this point in time, with the unemployment rate in South Africa, we're sitting with a boomerang generation. That's the generation that I'm calling them.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is they start with a qualification, but because they can't find a job, they will come back and study further. If they try and find a job, they can't find a job, so let me go back to the university and
then it becomes even worse because now you have got sitting with theory that you have never tested, you never know how it sounds like, it feels like to be in a real world.
Yes, because at the end you sit with a student with a PhD who never worked in the industry in his life before. So how are you going to buy experience for that student? Because if you look at any job description, then it is at least 2 or 3 years of experience. Now, if you sit with these students with this high qualification and they demand a high salary, how can you give them the salary if they never worked in their entire life?
Sure.
So then you need to start training that person again.
Wow. Let's.
It's a challenge.
Yeah. So this is your passion right now. You're sitting with this and you're doing research, a lot of research on it, and obviously there's no longer further studies now. Eh? You are done, and probably there's a lot of research and writing papers and when do you write your book around work integrated learning? Is UJ regarded as a comprehensive or as a traditional university?
UJ is a comprehensive university, remember, because it merged with previous Technikon.
Yes.
So the qualifications that we offer is diploma
and certificates.
And certificates. So it is a comprehensive university.
You can learn anything at UJ.
Yeah.
So, when you go back and you rewind and you then travel fast forward, what has been the highlights of this journey for you?
The highlights of my journey was first of all my marriage, and then it was my 2 daughters.
Yes. Yeah. And it happened unfortunately it happened very early in your life, which really allowed you to do many other things.
Yeah, I must say, I only done my PhD and my master's on a very late stage of my life. So I could enjoy my kids when they were young, and I was there for them when they were young. So during the most important time of their lives, I was there for them. And that's very important for me. And then when I start my PhD journey, my daughters was already at varsity already. And so I was fortunate to spend the time when they were little with them and then start my journey as
How many crossroads have you come across? And then you said, "Oh, I could have gone there. I went here. Thanks God I went here, not there. Or, oh my way, I should have gone there, but I went here. It is what it is."
I must say I don't have a lot of crossroads. I think my road was just paved for me the way that God sees my purpose in life.
Yes.
So I went straight from Bangkok properties into education. And then in the Technikon Witwatersrand run, instead of going out of the Technikon and education environment, I grew within the university, within the Technikon, within the educational environment. And for me, I was very fortunate to say that it worked out for me, like it did.
And the University of Johannesburg is a wonderful professional home indeed for you. You have.
On the 1st of October, I'm working 32 years for the university.
Wow, that's
32 years, and I've started as a secretary, and I ended up as a doctor.
Wow.
In education.
Indeed, your story and Mulesani's story is just duplicate of.
Sam, you don't know we're sisters.
Do you talk about this a lot?
We do, yeah. Annie and I are very close. We are sisters, you know it.
Yeah.
We always travel together.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness, this is when people look at you and see what you are doing now, they just think that you went that normal route, degree, and then you arrive. I mean, this is hard work. And I think you must be very grateful to your families for having supported you through this journey. It must have frustrated them at some other times.
Yes, I am. No, I am very grateful to my husband and my 2 daughters, to stick it through all the difficult times with me and to motivate me to carry on. And that I can show them as daughters, that I can teach, if I can teach my daughters one thing in life, is never to give up. If someone is, if you get an opportunity in life and you think you can't do it, never say no. Take the opportunity and say, I will learn from it.
Yeah.
And I will make it work. Then it will work.
So somebody who is in the same situation with you, or is likely to have the same challenges as you, what of their personality must they focus on to really have this tenacity to pull through what you pulled through?
Is always to work on the positive energy. We as people are very easy to see that life is not fair to me as a human being. Life is not fair to everyone. Doesn't matter who you are. Sometimes in life is not fair, but that's life. It's not the way how you fall down, it's the way how you stand up and how you say you will make the best of it. So it's very much, it's a mindset, it's an attitude in life. If you have that attitude that, the world owe me everything, then you're not going to achieve in life. You need to take out of life and make the best from it.
So the attitude...
Because it was easy for me as well. Because, I grew up in a house where there sometimes was no food.
Yeah.
But that's life. If I sit in a corner and I cry about, tonight we don't have food, tomorrow the sun will shine again. It's all about your attitude in life.
Sure.
If you have a positive attitude, you can achieve everything. But if you have that negative attitude and life owe you everything, then I think that you will not reach your full potential.
And which other trades will you want them to sharpen them for such a tough journey?
Is to find a confidant that
Yes.
you can talk to.
Yeah.
Don't keep things for yourself.
Mm.
That's why I always encourage my students. If you need someone to talk, if you don't want to talk to me, then tell me you need someone.
Yeah.
I will find you someone to talk to.
Mm.
But don't just keep it for yourself.
Mm. Wow.
You need to speak about your problems.
Mm.
Because if you keep it for yourself, then it will just boil and boil and boil and you need to talk about
Roelien, South Africa is a very complex country to live in. As much as we think it's that easy, I have observed you a number of times how you carry yourself among diverse cultures. I mean, SASC itself is very diverse, but I've really observed you, and I wondered many a times whether that is something that is an intent within you, or is something that is just a gift that you have in you that just makes you to navigate yourself among these diverse cultures, work with people who are so diverse and they just feel remain the same. I mean, it might be easy for you, but I'm sure that could be a problem for people who diverse cultures tend to distract them. Yeah? Do you want to say anything around that? Is my observation right?
Your observation is right, but Sam, it's very much to do with the way that I was, how my dad and mom treated people when I grew up as a child.
Yes.
For me, it's not about who you are. For me, it's about what you can do, what you can bring to the table. It doesn't matter who you are. For me, we are all equal. And work must be done. And if you have a conversation with my HOD, you can also ask her tomorrow. For me, it's very important that I see people for who they are. And I think it's the way how I grew up in my house, how my mom and dad was treating people.
Yeah.
And so I think that mindset was there from a child. And that's why you will see, Annie's my sister. We will travel together and we will stay together. We will talk. We find one another at least once a month.
So am I right to say that you are also confirming that if we were to choose our parents, this is one of the things we will look at, how good they are in parenting us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't. So,
Yeah, my mom and dad were very good role models for me as a child in how you treat people. Because you treat people like the Bible is telling you're treating people. And everyone in life is equal. It's not, I am this person and you are that person. We are all equal. In the eyes of God, we are all equal.
Beautiful. What are the outstanding ambitions and dreams and desires and goals that you want them to be nailed onto your life story, still to be written?
Still to be written.
The remaining chapters of your life story.
The one thing that I still want to do before retirement, and I wonder if I will ever retire, I don't think so, is to get work integrated learning recognized and a system implemented in South Africa so that we can sit at the highest level and we can say that we address unemployment, youth unemployment, because they are the future of the country, not you and I. You and I are not the future of the country. Sorry, Sam, we are too old.
Well, but we can lead. We can lead that.
But we can lead them.
We can lead that. Yeah.
So my dream is to work on the unemployment from an educational point of view, and to try and address the unemployment, but through work integrated learning, and that the institutions can realize what is the work of work integrated learning. How powerful is work integrated learning?
Yeah. Maybe we should simplify it for them, because sometimes the work integrated learning sounds too complex for people to understand. All what we are saying is that students and learners must have the opportunity to experience the world of work in a real, practical manner before they could even qualify and leave the institution of learning, and that we call work integrated learning. Because it's not like they don't know. Everybody knows that they need experience.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we become too complex for them.
Yeah, you know something else, Sam, and I think the academics will crucify me if they hear me now, so I hope that there's no one out there. And from an academic point of view, listening to me now, is I really feel very strong that academics must visit the industry for 2 weeks a year, work in the industry, work in your specialized field. So in other words, if you are a lecturer in the hospitality industry, you need to work in that industry for 2 weeks a year at least.
And it must be mandatory.
Yes, what is happening within that industry? I mean, if you look at the chemistry industry, how many of those lecturers are involved with the industry?
Yeah.
Food technology, biotechnology, how many of those lecturers know what the industry really wants?
I agree with you, and I fully support that, because it actually makes your work as a lecturer even easy. Because when you're standing in front of the students and you're giving them future direction, you are able to tell them what's going on.
Yeah, you know what industry wants.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the student gets the qualification, but when you enter the industry, is that qualification doing you justice? Can you run in that industry immediately, or do the industry needs to retrain you?
Yeah, you see? And in many cases, the industry invests more money to retrain people because they don't know the industry.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be retraining you. They should be polishing you.
I agree.
But here's the thing. Here's the other thing. We talk about industry. We're talking about a group of companies together, and which are at various stages of their life cycles, and we are actually strategically at the country level. We are talking about a business continuity in as far as talent provision is concerned.
Yeah.
And why do we even debate about it? There's nothing to debate. You have talent or you don't have it, then you are bust as an economy. I think if you think of an entrepreneur, a small company or family business, if they don't have the right talent, that business is gone.
Yes.
So at the country level, if we don't have the right talent, or we produce graduates who cannot fill the gaps in the industry, where does it leave South Africa in terms of competitiveness in the world? That's why we will forever have the largest number of expatriates in South Africa.
Yes, we are doomed for failure.
We depend on talent that is produced somewhere else that follows these foreign companies into South Africa, because we cannot provide the standard that they require. I assume it might also be just being mischievous, international companies wanting their people to come and learn South Africa so they can go back somewhere and use that knowledge. That is also acceptable. It's fine. That's how actually multinationals function. But that cannot be because there is no provision of these skills in South Africa, and therefore we have no choice but we have to send our talent there. And what happens is that talent becomes very costly.
Yeah. Now I feel very strong it's time for the industry to take hands with the academic institutions, and we need to form an alliance and see that we produce the students that can do the job.
Absolutely.
Because currently, for me, most of the institutions is in silos.
Yes.
Because I have a PhD student that is currently busy with a study, and she was doing a study specifically in information ICT, in IT diploma. And she was looking at traditional university, comprehensive university, and University of Technology. And the need is so big for a skills hub where the people can come together, the industry and the universities, so that they can build the skills from the educational institution level to the industry level, because that step is just too big for the student. The gap is there, the skills gap is there, because we don't address the skills gap. Because for us to address the skills gap, then there's also, you need to wait so long to get stuff approved if you want to change something in the curriculum.
Sure.
So it's very important for me, Sam, that we need to take hands as companies, as industry, to say we want to work together with.
Yeah, I always say that
we're willing to work with them.
I always say that we need activist type of CEOs. And I'm not blaming anybody, but I'm just saying that sometimes I look at you are oozing with that enthusiasm and with the passion, but you are not the one who signs on the dotted line that my company shall do it. So I think we need to get to the level where people are not just about leading their companies to be the best in terms of bottom line, but to be the best in terms of bringing a difference.
Yes.
And
we
then
need to start making a difference.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been quite very insightful. So let's check out. What have we brought? I can see you are deep in thoughts as we are talking. I'm wondering what thoughts has this conversation brought fresh to you, because I don't think it's a new thought. There are new thoughts.
My challenge again is, and I wonder how we're going to do this, is to get the universities, and it's actually not the UOTs, because I think that the UOTs and the TVETs do see the value of work-integrated learning. For me, is how are we going to get the traditional universities and the comprehensive universities to see the value of work-integrated learning? How are we going to get the VCs and the DVCs and the top management of the universities and the comprehensive universities to buy in? And how big is the challenge to get the industries to come on board and say, let's fight unemployment as a team together in South Africa? Because I feel very strong, as long as the universities or tertiary institutions and the industry is not taking hands and say we're going to fight unemployment in South Africa, nothing will happen.
In a meaningful way, I think.
Meaningful.
Yes, and I think, sometimes the stuckness, I think, is our own creation, because we're fighting other battles, of our differences, and then we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing right to position South Africa as a force in the world of nations when it comes to the global competitiveness. It will not happen as long as we are not aligned. To debate on things like just avoid giving young people opportunity to start careers is a self-defeating thing to start with. Because I think I look at myself, all those people that took me through the stages, and they were not paid extra money because they had Sam as an intern next to them. They were just doing it as a way that they see is right to be done. So I think the discussion has just started, and maybe I've spoken to almost all of you guys in this space. Maybe one day we'll do a Zoom call of all the people I've interviewed around work-integrated learning, and just consolidate what we have, what ideas we generated, and agree whether through SASCI or just as practice, because it's your industry, isn't it? We have the responsibility to grow our industry. It's a sub-industry of human capital development, which is work-integrated learning. And maybe have a regular dialogue and invite other people who are decision makers to assist in taking this forward. At least we shall have started somewhere.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we need to address. It's the only way I think we can address unemployment in South Africa. Because if I'm thinking further, is that if you think of the corporate environment, I mean those people at the top, if they are 60 or 50 or 55, why don't you have young people shadowing you for at least 5 years or 2 years?
Yes.
And building capacity of the youth.
Yeah.
So when you retire, that the knowledge is not lost.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
understand what I'm getting?
Yeah, and that is a totally different mindset, Roelien. I mean, I like that because you are challenging now, and it takes a different mindset to do exactly that. But it also takes you a person who have some progressive perspective into the future, who doesn't see themselves as waking themselves out of opportunities.
Yeah, but they must not see it as what's the right word?
Substitution.
They must not see it as a threat. They must not see it as a threat. They must see it as building the young nation to become what you are.
And it's a legacy. It's living the legacy.
It's a legacy that I'm leaving. I mean, for me, it's a privilege to build the young people in something. For me, it's beautiful to see my students flourish. It's for me the best thing in the world. If my students phone me and tell me, Dr. Brink, I'm now the CEO. It is the most amazing feeling.
Absolutely.
Because I have contributed to the success of that student.
Beautiful.
That's why when I see my HOD, it's always for me so positive to see what we become, because I have a role to play in a life.
Yeah, it's a real practical example. What a pleasure.
Yeah, because what are you leaving at the end of the day, Sam? Your legacy is, you can't leave anything else than just that one seed that you plant with a young person that grow into this beautiful, beautiful young person in a leadership position. That is the ultimate.
Beautiful.
That's the ultimate.
Lovely. Roelien, you and I, we can talk forever. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for being generous with your... How do people get a hold of you if they want to take you on some of the views you've shared?
They can send me an email on my email address, rbrink@uj.ac.za.
Yes. And how else?
Must I give them my cell phone number?
Are you on social media, LinkedIn,
I am
Facebook?
on social media. I'm on LinkedIn as Roelien Brink.
Yes.
And I'm on Facebook
Yes.
They can, I'm on Facebook as Roelien Brink.
Okay.
So they're more than welcome to send me an email either on LinkedIn or Facebook or...
And you are the only Roelien Brink at UJ. There's no any other Roelien
And you
Brink.
need to spell it like the Boere Roelien. Roelien.
Brink. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I always say on the brink of destruction, sir.
Then they get it right. Thank you so much, Roelien. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
It was nice talking to you.
Lovely. Same here.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Roelien Brink from the University of Johannesburg. Very passionate about the work integrated learning and learning in general. Thank you for tuning in. This is Sam Zima, and that was Comesa Radio Africa. You're welcome to become a member of Comesa Friends and Supporters Club, NPO, and let's take the discussion forward. Make our country the better place to live, the continent to be competitive indeed, and the world to be a progressive world. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to receiving you, welcoming you at our next broadcast. Goodbye and be safe.